Hi, we're going to make Dutch pannenkoeken. Now I have it on good authority that my Dutch pancakes are at least easily the best on this block. No, I'm kidding. They're pretty good, and the authority is my wife, my daughter, my biased self, being Dutch, and pretty much anybody who's tasted them. Now I learned to make these pancakes a combination of my mom, who ironically enough isn't even Dutch, she's German. I'm Dutch on my father's side, and one of my father's girlfriends, Martina, who in my opinion just made absolute fantastic Dutch pannenkoeken. The difference is she used ingredients from a box, I make mine from scratch. And we're going to take a look at the ingredients, but basically there's a couple of things to make really good Dutch pancakes, and I'll anglicize it from here on in. Texture, super important. Size, because we don't make those North American flappy, whatever the hell you want to call them, hotcakes. We'll call them hotcakes because let's face it, those aren't pancakes. A pancake should, as the name implies, occupy the diameter of a frying pan at the very least. And hotcakes certainly do not. They don't deserve the moniker pancake. All right, let's take a look. So, texture, number 1. Heat, number 2. 3, size. To make all those things come together is going to require a little bit of finesse. Now I've been making these since my early teens, so I can pretty much do them in my sleep, but let's go over the steps. The most important thing, a frying pan. Now you can see this is a skillet, not a frying pan, and the reason I use a skillet is because of the diameter. So we've got about a 12-inch diameter here, if not more. All right. Every stove is different, so you're going to learn to make these and calibrate the heat just right. For my stovetop, I use the large plate circumference with a setting of about 4, and that just works perfectly. You get the butter caramelizing in there, and you get your pannenkoek turning out just right. That beep there indicates my oven temperature is optimal. Now, 170 degrees is what I use. That keeps it warm. And we'll keep that inside, keeps it just the right temperature. Now we've got our ingredients. Check this out. Milk, creamier the better generally, but you don't want to go too creamy just because the binding doesn't turn out totally right here. So we've got 2%. That's what I prefer to use for pannenkoek. 2 eggs, and I'll explain eggs. Basically, every cup of flour ingredient that you use in the pannenkoek, you basically use 1 egg per 1 cup of flour. Butter, super important for the pan to get the texture portion right. Magic baking powder. Now, there's 2 schools of thoughts on pannenkoek. The most traditional method involves using yeast. We're not going to use yeast. Yeast is fairly straightforward to work with, but not near as straightforward to work with sans yeast. So what I prefer as a substitute is just a little bit of magic baking powder. It simplifies the process, and honestly, the combination of this with the butter caramelized at the right temperature gets you the perfect golden pannenkoek. Flour, of course. Vanilla extract. And I'll shuffle it into view here. Brown sugar. All right. I don't use white sugar. I rarely use white sugar in anything. For pannenkoek, nothing beats brown sugar. Not for during prep, and not for post accompaniment once your pancake's ready and on the plate. All right. And then of course, measuring cup. All right. Large mixing bowl. That's definitely needed. A whisk, scooper ladle, which I use for portioning, okay, and the absolute most important when making pannenkoek, a spatula flipper. Not a spatula, but a flipper thingy. Now I'm going to mix up the ingredients. That'll be the next step. and we'll talk about the consistency. The batter has to be just right. And again, I can pretty much do it by feel. Absolute arrogance and bragging intended. But I will lay out the process and simplify it. All right? Okay, so we're back. And as promised, I'm going to go over the ingredients here. So flour, as you can see here, I'm a metric boy. So I know it's 2 cups, but it's basically 500 ml of flour. All right, so I'll use cups here for people watching. Milk, I generally, if you go exact cup to cup ratio, milk to flour, you're going to have a more thicker North American butchery hotcake method. And by the way, I don't mind hotcakes. I have them on occasion too. I prefer these. So what you want to do is your batter consistency is so important. You want to have a velvety texture on the batter. You don't want to go too rough, and you don't want to go too creamy smooth. So you're kind of looking for, you know, a little bit of slight coarseness in there is going to be just right. Now, I generally go 1 1/4 cup milk to every cup of flour. So I've got 2.5 cups of milk here, all right, for my 2 cups of flour. And you'll notice that the milk is brownish. That's because I've already added 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, okay? Vanilla extract, and I don't know if I mentioned it the first time around, but a little bit of vanilla flavor goes a long way with these pancakes, all right? 2 teaspoons magic baking powder, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and 2 eggs. All right, we're going to put that in here, and when I come back, I'm going to show you what the texture looks like, or should look like. All right, so just a quick recap here. So I've made my batter, all right? And again, I'll stay non-metric just for the video here. So just once again, that's 2 cups of flour. Now what I didn't mention the first time around is every cup of flour ingredient, and I just consider that the base ingredient, the flour, okay, makes you 3 of these pannakouka. So I've used 2 cups of flour. That's going to get me 6. What I don't include is the first one, and when we go into the prep, actually on the stovetop, you'll see the first pannakouka is all about getting the temperature just right. And it'll cook, but it's not going to taste as good as subsequent pancakes once that temperature is just optimal, all right? So just to recap, 2 cups of flour, 2 eggs, 2.5 cups of milk, a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract, a couple teaspoons of magic baking powder, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and then you just mix it. And you're going to come up with this kind of texture. And you can see it's kind of like a thick buttermilk, right? And that's just the perfect texture is what we're going to use. All right, that's going to make a beautiful, thin, slightly rising, the closest you could equate it to is kind of that crepe, but a little thicker than a crepe. All right, so we're going to look at what that looks like on the stovetop next. Now, one of the things we didn't talk about is the health factor of these things. I'm under no illusion that these aren't the kind of thing that you're going to have on a strict nutrition plan. I don't recommend eating these daily because you will balloon. Generally, you know, we have these every few months. We had a spell going where we were having these every week, Saturday, just kind of a morning tradition. But you really got to watch the quantity because they're filling, they're huge, and they're packed with calories, very calorie dense. If you do the calculations, they're pretty obscene. I think it's about 400 calories per pannakouka. So you have 3, you're already over 1,000, and for a guy, yes, you know, you're about 1/3 of your daily allotment just with breakfast. That's 3. So, anyways, let's take a look here. You can see I've got some butter in here already, and I generally use about a tablespoon of butter before every pannakouka. I'm going to turn the fan on after because it's very loud. I won't turn it on yet, but you can kind of see the butter caramelizing. It's kind of brown. That signifies that the temperature is almost kind of where you want it. All right, but again, cooking the pannenkoek, making sure that it's cooked through, that's going to require finessing and tweaking on your end, because it's going to vary. I know my stove. I know the right temperature. Like I said, it's 4 on mine, and I kind of got the feel down just because I've been doing this so long. But anyways, that's how it should look. I'm just going to move it off here for a second, get my batter, and pour it. Now, generally what I'm doing for one pannenkoek is I take one of these ladles and then kind of give it a twisting action, add another one, and twist it the circumference of the pan. So let's see if I can do this with one hand here without making a huge mess. All right, so we're going to go 1 real quick, we're going to go 2 real quick, and then what we're going to do is we're going to twist it. You can see with my wrist here, so that it hits almost the entire circumference of the frying pan. Now, yeah, I did that one-armed, so it's not going to turn out the greatest, but you get the idea there. Without camera, that's going to go a lot better. Now, generally, once the dough is dry on the top, you can start flipping the sides to see if the underneath is golden brown. Once it is and the top is pretty much dry, it's ready to flip. All right, and then you're going to repeat that on the other side. Then generally what I do is once it's ready, it goes into the oven on a waiting plate, all right, which I will grab. And I always serve these hot from the oven. All right, so there's a plate in there. Once that's ready, flipped, it goes in there and the stack gets created. All right, so once this one is done, the second one is going to be pretty much perfect. So this first one, not a total throwaway, but I generally devour it while I'm making the rest because it's not perfect, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist when I make these. But it is good to kind of test and gauge the temperature. All right? Okay, now we're still on that first one, but it does give a good illustration of the color that you're looking for. So that golden brown color, that's the color that you want for your pannenkoek when you flip it. All right? That's just perfect. And my God, does that smell good. I'm getting so hungry here. But that's basically how you want it to look. And once it's done on the other side, like I said, off into the oven it goes. Now when it comes to toppings for pancakes, my Dutch sweet tooth gets the best of me. I'm pretty much a sweet topper pancake guy. You can put anything on top of these. You could put bacon, eggs. I mean, you can, you know, if you've ever been to the Dutch pannenkoek house, you can get them all kinds of different ways. Sausage. Again, I prefer sweet toppers. My absolute favorite is this Dutch syrup, and we call it stroop, and it's absolutely delicious. That's my favorite, bar none. And again, not stroop, stroop, stroop. All right. Honey, love honey on there. I like some brown sugar on there. And I did say these aren't the best for any kind of health plan, right? Because, yeah, they're not. Jam. Peanut butter is another thing I like putting on these. And only Adam's Natural. None of that Skippy crap. And, of course, my daughter's favorite, Canadian maple syrup. I'll put that on there, too. Yeah, that's basically what I like to put on them. Okay, so this is pancake number 2, and you can see here golden brown, and look at that on the other side, just perfect, absolutely perfect. All right, that's going to go into the oven. All right, so let's take a look in the oven here so far. You can see there we've got 2 on the stack, and oh God, those are looking good, eh? Woohoo! Can't wait, can't wait. All right. 3 down, and we've got 3 to go. One of the things that cameras don't really convey well at all is smell. My God, you could smell this right now. Caramelized butter, that hint of vanilla, and the smell of freshly cooking pannenkoek. my God, it's good. It's fantastic. It's so good. One thing I wanted to add, traditionally in Holland, pancakes are generally eaten as a dinner meal, not as a breakfast meal. So one of the things that would always drive me nuts with the Dutch, which I mentioned, is they obviously had to Canadianize the restaurant a little bit, because in North America, pancakes are generally eaten as a breakfast meal, not as a dinner meal. So they had this habit of closing at noon, so I'd get a hankering for a pannenkoek at 4 or 5, and have to make it myself because the damn restaurant would close at noon. There was one in Strawberry Hill that was actually open for dinner, but Canadians just couldn't get their head wrapped around pancakes for dinner, and obviously there weren't enough Dutchies in Strawberry Hill to keep it open. So they went back to the hours that all the Dutches have, which is breakfast hours. So I'm making it right now, and it's, you can see here, 1:49. So, okay, so my daughter, who is going to remain off camera, decked the table for us, and you can see here the completed stack of awesomeness. And my wife giggling in the background like a little schoolgirl. Oh my God, you're filming this? Yes, I am. And there we go. Now, next is obviously devouring them, which won't be filmed. Okay, pancakes devoured. Now my favorite part. Dishes. No, I'm kidding. My daughter's actually helped me, and my wife's filming, but the dishwasher takes care of the plates, and the manual dishwasher takes care of the big stuff. Okay. It's good.
Done?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Cut it!
I don't know. We'll just keep going.
You're your own entertainment, eh? Channel Maria, always on.
Yes, come on now. Let's hear a crack here and there. Comedy relief. Come on.
What, outtakes?
Yes.